I was going to post a video commemorating the NBA 75x75 team in late January of next year, with hopes of getting fans excited prior to the All-Star game where I thought they would make this announcement. Well, luck would have it the list was unveiled last week, so with my list already compiled, here are my thoughts on why the following players should be included in the abridged and expanded team. Fellow YouTuber Bill the Hall of Fame Collector actually inspired the genesis for this video due to his amazing autograph collection of those basketball legends who were named to the NBA 50 at 50 way back in 1997. In his showcase video, he mentioned there needs to be a 75 at 75 list compiled, and I hadn't realized 25 years had elapsed so suddenly, so here we go. Since I'm a vintage/old school freak when it comes to preserving the history of sports, I feel the list which was created in 1997 still stands, so that knocks off 2/3 of my team, with the rest being the best 25 over the last 25 or so years. Players who led the league in major categories, won championships and awards, named to select teams, and are in or headed for the Hall of Fame are included here, all of which stems from my humble opinion. Like all great countdowns and lists of the greats, this one is not without controversy. But first, let's look at the near misses, those 25 who came up a bit short for unofficial mention, or maybe should have been thought of in the previous compilation. If you immediately give me the stink eye looking at these pages, don't forget there can only be 25 additions for the main list. I'm actually surprised the NBA did not name Chris Bosh, but relieved to learn they hadn't because his numbers weren't quite there. Vince Carter is a walking legend, playing up to the age of 43. Joe Dumars was the glue and general of the Bad Boys team. Manu was a very underrated component to all the winning in San Antonio. Penny was one of the best in the early 90s, and Little Penny wasn't too bad himself. Grant Hill was the last player cut from my main list. He's officially number 26, and I'll explain why in a few. Reggie Miller did not make my team, and not because of those 3 games in which he dashed the hopes of Knicks fans. Alonzo wasn't just another Georgetown great who successfully made the NBA transition. He really could do it all. For all you youngsters, look up Mitch Richmond's numbers in full. Derrick Rose is a case of what could have been, save for injuries and attitude. I can't wait for Klay Thompson to return because he's so much fun to watch. The human highlight reel was my favorite player growing up in the 1980s, so he will always be considered on a list like this, but not within the top half. Now, for the team you really want to know about. He led the Nuggets to the playoffs in his rookie season, and although Carmelo Anthony has jumped around between teams, has held his own, climbing up the all-time record lists. The third member of Boston's Big Three, but one of the purest shooters ever. Ray Allen already made a name for himself in Milwaukee, and will always be one of the best three-point authors. Here's the first discrepancy between lists. He was 24 before he was 13, and although the Indiana team imploded, Paul George's natural ability shines through. There are still many PG years ahead. Not only could you tell that the truth enjoyed playing, but Paul Pierce came through when needed, the backbone of those Celtics teams. One of the 2 players on this list with a tremendous upside. Winning a title in 2020 might give Anthony Davis the push to become a true great. His shooting style, not to mention winning 3 and 4 seasons, changed the pace of today's game. Many can nail long-range attempts, but Steph Curry makes it look so easy. perhaps the first surprise on this list, Ben Wallace was the best defender over the course of a decade and tremendously overlooked at his position where so many big men dominated. Another Detroit champ, but from a different time, Dennis Rodman was the Worm, then excelled at his craft with the Bulls. A character with a feisty attitude, Hot Rod could ball and was a key factor with each team he was on. He's the reason Grant Hill didn't make my final cut. What a roller coaster ride in just 8 seasons. The Greek Freak is just getting it, and the potential that there are more titles coming to the Deer District is a reality. Plus, is he not the most likable star in the game since Magic? The Canadian legend proved you don't need to be a character to have flash. Steve Nash could dish, but came up a bit shy in picking up a ring. What could have been in Dallas? The beard might be on the downside of a quietly spectacular career. James Harden has been a true workhorse over the last 6 or so seasons, working his way up from 6th man to league MVP. Superman revitalized the Orlando franchise and has hung in there, despite injuries and rumors of clashes with teammates. Dwight Howard's longevity and perseverance allowed him to put up big numbers and leap up this list in a single bound. Here's a polarizing figure. Kawhi Leonard had a rough end to his San Antonio days, and while some figured his reputation was ruined, fit in with Toronto and won again. Another new Laker, he put OKC on the map. Russell Westbrook has that natural talent and shows a bit of ego that he knows it. That's not going to prevent him from comfortably sitting at the Legends table once his career has ended. Introducing the greatest Heat player of all time. When he was with Shaq, Dwayne Wade was the best in the league. His contributions in the franchise's next 2 titles solidified him as a great. Who might kick off this list's top 10? Here's the answer. The leader of all that fresh talent who entered the league in the mid to late 90s, Allen Iverson's crossover appeal in Philly proved you don't need practice to be so good. I'm joking, of course. Practice. Here's a rarity, a legend who spent his entire career in the same place. Dirk Nowitzki played and matured with class and pride. He capped off a career with so many big stats and accolades by passing Wilt on the all-time scoring list during his last season. To all the kids watching that might say, who? This is the glove, Gary Payton, and yes, he was that good. When the top 50 list was announced, he was in the middle of a tremendous career that challenged the great Jordan for best defender in the league. Here's the other player I mentioned earlier with tremendous upside still. Let's hope his knees and legs stay fit. Kevin Durant was a major boost to the Warriors in 2017 and 18. Can he be that star in Brooklyn with so many questions surrounding his teammates? Speaking of the Nets, I kid you not when I say Jason did it all with the poise of a statesman and the ferocity of a viper. A master of shooting, rebounding, and passing, just look at all his numbers. He was even undefeated in Olympic competition. Our second favorite State Farm client, hi Aaron, might go down as the best player to never win at all, but Chris Paul has remained consistent, playing for 5 different franchises. After 8 consecutive playoff appearances in Minnesota, Kevin Garnett joined Boston and pushed that team to a title. Crass and outspoken as he might have come off, his fire and love of the game showed every night. For those of you who have followed the league and its players over the last quarter century, you probably have figured out who the top 3 players on my list are. But what order did I put them in? Surrounded by 3 very different teams, he was the key in 2 NBA title runs and an Olympic gold winner. Kobe Bryant accomplished everything there was to do in the league. Then he went out and won an Academy Award. I still can't believe he's gone. Thank you for everything, Black Mamba. Who would have thought that the shy, wide-eyed sidekick to the Admiral would not just become a dominant force in his own right for almost 2 decades, but arguably one of the top 5 players of all time. Tim Duncan and Coach Popovich put together one of the greatest tandems in all of sports. I promise you somewhere within this stat-filled screen is a picture of LeBron James from the greatest moment of his professional career. It's hard to believe this is his 19th season. He's going to break Kareem's record and might be, for who knows how long, the greatest of all time. I'm very happy that the league decided to keep each one of the original top 50 in their new list. Believe me, I had some doubt. So we were only off by 3 players. Reggie Miller might have been a borderline player, but I feel his recent run as analyst on the Turner Network is the real reason he's in. When the 97 list was announced, the league took a lot of heat for not including Dominique, but seriously, who would they have left out? I feel his inclusion this time is a PR fix. Now, both of them at least made my next 25 list, but the real question I have is with Damian Lillard. Even if you don't agree with my naming George, Howard, and Wallace, do you think Lillard is a better pick than Grant Hill? Overall, which list do you think is better? Which selections do you agree and disagree with? Who would you have included that missed the cuts? What do you say I'll see you for the top 100 list in the 2046-47 season?